Hello there everyone, welcome to this video. It is I, E.T. Templar, alien crusader from beyond the heavens, here to entertain, destroy through the power of meme magic, and we're just looking at some propaganda. So if you're following the Ukraine-Russia thing, both sides, Western and Russia, they just throw immense propaganda out there and they try and paint the other as these, marauding barbarians or these uncivilized Nazis or whatever the propaganda is. There's this one I came across on Reddit, and I think, just take a look at this. Let's see what. Okay, so this is what ordinary Russians think of Ukraine. Now, obviously, I would give more credence to this if they were there for like hours upon hours, and like if there was hundreds of people. But you will see 4 to 5, 8 people, I think, in this video, and you can obviously tell whoever like cut this and put it out that they handpicked these people, these absolute radicals, to make Russia look bad, and paint it as ordinary Russians think of Ukraine. But here we go.
Украина станет вторичным государством, которое не будет принимать ни в чем участие. А мы будем забирать эту землю себе.
Правильно считаете?
Это так и было раньше. Все возвращается к своим истокам.
Вот эта падаль нацистская, вы теперь спрашиваете, что мы с ним будем делать? Вольнем. И спрашивать не будем. И все, что там с этим связано. Не добили во Вторую мировую войну. Добьем сейчас.
Кажется, что, наверное...
You have to remember, these people are in Russia. These are Russian citizens, and they're being interviewed. Their face is on, like, national TV. So if you live in a police state, like Russia, and you dare speak out against Putin and the regime and the nationalistic order, like, of Russia, you're going to be thrown in the gulag. You're going to be fucking making snow cones in Siberia. So the fact that a news agency or whoever's behind this bullshit is kind of trying to twist this as, like, ordinary Russians, it's like, no ordinary Russian, unless if they're mentally retarded, is going to speak out against Putin and the current, like, national order. They're just not. You'd be stupid unless you would be thrown in prison. You know what, Black Dolphin, some Hellenic, Slavic prison, or it's like carted off to Siberia in a gulag. No one's going to come out and be like, oh yeah, I love Ukraine, there should be peace. So technically you have to take this with a grain of salt in what these people are saying, because technically, or maybe, I'm pretty sure some of these people are actually, like, full of nationalistic fervor, or Russian, like, fervor or whatever, and that could be too, but you have to keep in mind that this is Russia. And if you were to speak out against Putin, I mean, if you look at the people who ran against Putin, they've all end up dead or, like, almost assassinated. Some guy got stabbed to death in his hotel room. Someone got beat to death. Someone got fucking nerve gassed. So you just have to, like, keep that in mind when Western media like this puts out garbage like this. You know, you have to, like, take into account the situation in Russia. Of course, that's not entirely the case in Russia. I'm just speaking generally. You don't want to speak out against Putin and Russia, because you will more than likely, like I said, end up making snow cones in Siberia.
Наверное, мы все-таки возьмем под крылышко всех этих бедных граждан, и все будет хорошо. Я думаю, что Путин создаст для них лучшие условия для жизни.
Putin will create better living conditions for both here and there. Oh, wow. But then again, remember, these poor bastards, you don't dare challenge, like, the regime. No one would be, like, again, dumb enough to do that.
И там, и здесь.
Россия и Украина, как вы думаете, чем все закончится?
Надо ее снести с земли и все.
Украину?
Да.
Зачем?
А зачем она нужна?
А потом кого сносить еще?
Польшу. Просто до кучи.
Oh, and Poland. So, of course, you see, do you still think they are not guilty? Like, no one was saying Russia wasn't guilty. Russia is, like, being charged with heinous war crimes and shit. So it's like, no one's sitting here and challenging the fact that the shit in Ukraine and Russia is bad. See, that's how you know this is propaganda horseshit, because they're trying to provoke you into, like, against, like, Russian. Now, again, this does have to say I'm not, like, Russian sympathetic. I'm just, like, approaching this from an angle that there's propaganda on both sides. The West is probably engaging in it more so than the Rus. Right now, for whatever reason, there's elements within the West and capitalism that want to push America into this grand scale war with Russia, because there's a lot of people who profit from the current, people in Ukraine or in charge in Ukraine. There's a whole lot of, corruption going on. Hunter Biden. You have Joe Biden. And it's no better, yeah, Ukraine is being invaded, and that fucking sucks. But you have to keep in mind there's some power players behind both sides. And at the end of the day, if this does go into a hot World War III, it's going to be poor bastards like you and me being blown and ripped apart by Russian tanks or grenades, rifles, machine guns, or what have you, as the world elite and their kin and their families sit nice, purty, and safe as we pay the ultimate sacrifice in blood, treasure, and that's the honest truth. And in reality, this whole shit situation, I mean, Russia does come off as the aggressor, and they come off as more like the bad guys, in my opinion, because they're just invading Ukraine and calling it denazification. But, yeah, it's a situation that's shitty, and you have to keep in mind, as just a normal person with common sense, to consider that both sides are engaging in a propaganda war. They're trying to pull you into action, and this is for the sake of oligarchs on both sides. And if you don't think, Zelensky isn't that great of a guy either. There's been some shit he's done in the past that's pretty heinous. So just don't get dragged into this bullshit of pushing for a war that other Americans are going to have to pay the price for as the world elite and ruling class. And that's the true sad thing about this is the Ukrainians are suffering, and then there's these Russian conscripts that essentially just get shoved into service into the situation in Ukraine, and they didn't have a choice in it. It's either you serve or you fucking die or face desertion charges or again back in the gulag. So you can't really point and be at the Russians going, they have no conscience or they have no soul. It's just what the fuck can you do about it? It's a situation, well, go to jail or pick up a rifle and shoot at some foreigners, essentially. And that sucks. And a lot of Russians are deserting, but it's too politically hot a topic to just dive into and be like, yeah, Ukraine are the righteous ones, or yeah, Russia's the righteous ones, they can do no wrong. So it's more of a just touchy topic than just, yeah, Slava Ukraini, or whatever the fuck. Quite frankly, we already gave Ukraine, I think it was $50 or $60 billion. And we have Americans suffering here stateside. We got homeless vets. Suicide among veterans is at all-time highs. And we have shit here, infrastructure and problems here. But we have all of a sudden $60 to $80 billion just to throw at some foreigners to blow up some more other foreigners. So, and you have to keep in mind Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon are all looking at this Ukraine thing going, think of the war profits. Right? Or the industrial military complex, popping a stiffy about all this. So there's profiteering to be had. There's bullshit afoot. And you just keep that in mind when you're seeing shit on Reddit or for this side or the other. So both sides are playing this dirty ass propaganda war, and most people really shouldn't be excited about the loss of life on either side. Whether you're pro Ukraine, go, yeah, look at these tanks explode. Right? It's shitty. And yes, the Russians are invading, and you can be like, oh yeah, and the invaders are getting what they. That's only common sense, natural to applaud the defending team, but there's more here at stake. I'm more concerned about what the guy behind the curtain is doing versus the Ukraine-Russia thing. But that's my take on it. Hopefully you guys found this interesting. Dislike, comment below. See you guys next time.